You're listening to the Live Out Loud podcast with River Wynn and Michelle Flamer.
Hello, friends. Michelle and I are once again traveling on the weekend and unable to record at the same time. So we are doing another episode where we picked a topic and we're each going to share a bit about this topic and then put them together in an episode for you. Consistency is really important to us, and we want to keep putting out an episode every week, even though we have busy lives. We are moms, we are employees, we have many hats that we wear, and yet this podcast lights us up so much that we just want to keep it going, and consistency is just key for us in keeping that energy alive. So here we are. The topic that we want to share with you this week is about spirit guides. You've heard us talk about it a little bit before in the podcast. I'm sure we both have mentioned it in passing. We haven't done an episode where we specifically talk about spirit guides and what they mean to us. And first of all, I just want to give a disclaimer that there are many cultures who believe in guides, and they are called to different things in different cultures. We refer to them as spirit guides because they are unseen sometimes, energies that are guiding us through life. Sometimes they also do come to us in a physical form. We are going to share with you about our personal experiences with spirit guides, what that means to us, and what that looks like for us. So for me, I have always deeply connected with the unseen energy of wisdom coming to me and guiding me. That energy has taken many different forms throughout my life. My earliest memories of this energy are probably about when I was 2 or 3 years old, and I realized that I could hear the trees speaking. And of course, they weren't using physical English language, right? Because trees don't have physical voices. But I realized that I could feel the energy of the trees, and if I laid underneath them and observed them for long enough, I could feel what they were saying, not only to each other, but what they had to share with me. I know. Sounds kind of crazy, right? I was 2 or 3 years old. You're probably like, what the heck, River? But it was very distinct for me, and it felt so peaceful. And of course, as an adult now, I don't remember exactly what they would say, but I just communed with the trees, and they told me stories, and they usually told me about the things that they had seen and the things that they felt. And it was just it was so beautiful to experience that as a toddler and then to continue experiencing that throughout childhood. Nature has always been a huge, huge part in my personal spirituality. Being out in nature, connected, rooted to the ground, to the elements, to the air, being near water, all of that really brings me back to a very rooted place. And I receive the most clarity in my life when I am in nature and I'm quiet and I'm just connected into what's around me. Now, spirit guides take another form for me, personally, with birds. I have had a deep connection with birds my entire life. They present themselves to me. And when I say present themselves to me, I mean it's a very, very noticeable way that they come to me. Friends notice it. People around me notice it. I'll give an example. You hear us talk about our dear friend Angela, Eye of Zion, our friend who's a shaman, an energy worker, and I was with her one time at a winery, and we were sitting out on the lawn, having a great conversation, just hanging out this beautiful, gorgeous day. And a very, very large vulture was circling above our heads to the point we both noticed it. And she pointed out that she had never seen a vulture that close before. And it kept flying closer and closer and closer. And it finally landed across the lawn from us briefly and then took off again. Birds find me. We both noticed it and laughed. And that's not the first time that's happened. I have been in many interesting places where certain types of birds are not usually to be found and will all of a sudden get a chill up my spine and look up and see them. I'll give an example of this. This spring, I went outside of my house to take a garbage bag to the garbage. And I got that chill down my spine. And I looked up. It was very early in the morning. It was very quiet out. And I looked up. And there was a pair of sandhill cranes flying in a circle above my house. If you're not familiar with sandhill cranes, they are a very large migratory crane. We're talking very tall bird, about the size of a child. Probably like 8 or 9 year old child in terms of height. No, I'm not giving you statistics because I can't remember them at this point in time. But sandhill cranes are very large birds. They also are not typically found in town, circling above a house in a pair. And they did that for quite some time, and then finally flew off in the direction of the marsh that is about 10 miles outside of town. Birds find me, but the most important bird in my life has always been the blue heron, great blue heron. If you have not seen that bird before, go to the beautiful thing called Google and look up great blue heron. They are majestic birds. Majestic. Graceful. They wade through the water, often sitting for hours, so still to catch their breakfast. They are patient. They are calm. They're generally solitary birds. And they have been my guide for most of my life. They appear to me when I need affirmation, when I need a sign that I am on the right path. A blue heron will appear. They fly very low over the top of my car while I'm going down the freeway. They fly over my head when I'm sitting next to a pond. They land near me in a parking lot in the middle of a city where a blue heron usually does not hang out. They find me. And so anytime I see a blue heron, whether it's a painting, a mural on a city wall, or an actual physical blue heron finding me, I know that they are speaking to me. They are affirming to me that I am on the right path. They are giving me assurance. They're telling me I'm seen, that I'm loved, and reminding me to stand tall and graceful no matter what life brings my way. For most of my life, birds have been the primary spirit guide for me. However, recently, in the last 6 months, about 6 months ago, I had a reading with, again, our friend Angela, who does energetic intuitive readings. And she told me that she saw new guides coming to me. And in the last 6 months, I've had 3 new guides appear to me. I have had a mountain lion, female mountain lion, appear to me in a dream, a very, very vivid dream, where I was sitting on the bank of a river, and I looked up, and she was walking down the riverbank, and she sat, and she looked at me, and in that moment, I was reminded that female cougars are single mothers. They raise their babies solo, and they are strong, and they are graceful, and they are powerful, and nurturing. They nurture their babies. That was a really beautiful affirmation for me as I was starting another deeper chapter of my single motherhood, as my children were going through some medical things and I was the only one dealing with it. And so that affirmation and that new guide showing up was so affirming of no matter what happens with your kids, you've got this, you can do this. You are a powerful mama. You're a nurturing mama. You have strength. You are powerful. You can do this. And then the next guide that appeared to me was a white snake, which is actually a symbol of Kundalini awakening. If you're not familiar with what Kundalini is, it is another form of an energy awakening in your body, an energy that is coiled at the base of your spine. Go look it up. It's fascinating. Maybe we can have someone come on the podcast to do an episode about Kundalini energy. It's fascinating. But the white snake is a symbol of Kundalini, and this one also appeared to me in a very vivid dream. I was in a dark room, and it didn't feel scary. It didn't feel negative. It just felt like calm, quiet space, black all around, and water on the floor, just a little bit of water on the floor. And this beautiful white snake came slithering up to me, and she wrapped herself around my body and held me and hugged me. And in that moment, I felt such a sacred energy, and I felt my entire body just come alive. And then she slithered down and slithered along the floor, and I followed her. And then I woke up from my dream, and since that dream, the snakes have been coming to me in so many different ways. I started seeing water snakes every time I went out to go bird watching, and I had seen them occasionally before, but all of a sudden I started seeing them en masse, it felt like, and snakes popping up in different places. Like I would open an email and there would be a little snake symbol at the bottom, or seeing it painted on a wall, just seeing them everywhere, or wanting to find a new book to read and going to the library and pulling out a book from the library shelf and there was a snake on the cover. Just showing up everywhere, and I have taken that as a very deep affirmation of staying committed to my spiritual practices and continuing to heal my body and allowing that vibrant, creative, sensual energy flow through me in a very big way. And that's what that represents. So I've had one more guide appear to me in the last 6 months, again in a dream. This is where they usually come to me the first time. And this dream was with a mother whale and a baby whale. And I was sitting on the edge of a body of water, and this big, great gray whale swam right up to me and put her body against my legs, and her calf was swimming right next to her, and I put my hand on her, and then I leaned my head against this mama whale and just leaned into her, and she leaned back into me, and it was the most beautiful, nurturing, safe, warm, welcoming, affirming energy. She was saying, "I see you," and I was saying to her, "I see you." And I woke up knowing that she had come to affirm to me that just like the cougar is a single mother, the gray whale is so nurturing of her calf, but they also are supported by community, because most whales, move in pods and they're social creatures. And she reminds me that even though I'm powerful, even though I can do things on my own, that I also need to be seen, and I need to be nurtured, and I need community. And leaning into the strong feminine energy of the women around me lifts me up. So when she appears to me, it's a reminder of, you don't have to do this alone. You can do it alone, but you don't have to. Lean into the women around you. So those are my spirit guides. And that's how they show up for me. And I see them all the time. They come to me when I'm not looking for them. Sometimes I will ask to see them, and they will appear and show up for me. And they often come to me when I am in meditation, when I close my eyes and I just get quiet in my body. They all come in together, and they just surround me with love and nurturing and affirmation. And sometimes they also carry messages that are hard for me to hear because it's something I need to work on, or an area I need to grow or heal on. And they're reminding me that I need to do that work. And I don't want to hear it always, but they're still there affirming for me and telling me and reminding me that on the other side of the hard work I do is so much joy and there's so much growth. So they keep me going. Now, I personally believe that we all have guides, whether you call them spirit guides, ancestors, whatever you personally call them, whatever your cultural beliefs are. I do believe that we all have access to energies that help guide us through life. Some people call them angels. I also do believe in angels as guides. There are many different kinds of guides. Some people believe that there are alien guides. Whatever you believe in, I personally think that there are energies out there guiding us. And if you listen, they can help you along the way. But they also really help you just get in touch with yourself and your own intuition and help you trust yourself. So you're like a team. I think of our guides as part of our team. And we work together along the journey of life. And if you listen and hear what they have to say, they can give you the knowledge and the affirmations to keep you headed on the path of alignment and for your highest good. So really, they're like your cheer squad, even though sometimes they tell you what you don't want to hear. Now, if you haven't experienced having a guide in this way, I would encourage you to maybe just start paying closer attention around you. Is there anything in your life that pops up in a recurring way that you've noticed? Usually either an animal or some kind of symbology, or as an angel. Pay attention. See what comes through and make note of it. Maybe you do have guides and you just haven't been paying attention to them or watching for them or listening to them. I'd also encourage you, our amazing friend Angela, shouting her out today, she calls them power animal readings, where she will help you connect with your guides and connect with the primary animal guide that is part of your team and any other guides that may come through. So I would encourage you to go to our dear friend's Instagram. Her Instagram is Eye of Zion, and her website is linked there, and you can connect with her for readings to work with your guides and hear what they have to say and start practicing listening to them. You can also find guided meditations on YouTube for free that can help you connect with your guides. I would probably use the keyword spirit guide meditation and see what comes up and find one that resonates for you. There are all different voices that, some people might like to hear a male voice, or some people might like to hear a feminine voice, or some people might like to not have a voice and read a guided prompt. Or there's so many different ways you can do it. But I would go to YouTube and do a guided meditation and see if you can connect with your guides and see what comes through. It can be a really, really helpful way to connect not only with yourself, but connect into the energy that we are all living in and we're all capable of accessing. That gives us information for our journey. That's what energy is. It's a frequency. It's information. And we can use it to heal and grow and move along our journey. So that's my experience with spirit guides. If you have an experience that you would like to share with us, feel free to send us a DM on Instagram, and we'd be happy to share that in our Instagram stories. Like a little quick note. Maybe we'll put up an Instagram box and or do a poll about this topic. I'd love to hear your stories, so feel free to send them to us. Okay, my friends, enjoy what Michele has to share about our spirit guides, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hello, Pod Squad. Yeah, River and I are, like she said, in separate cities. I'm up in Canada working, and she was out of town in Portland working. And sometimes we have to record these separately, as much as we don't love it. But we hope you'll enjoy this episode talking about spirit guides and how spirits come to us. But good morning. This is morning for me today. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. If any of you remember The Truman Show. So I'm at this show. I have to tell you guys a quick story. I'm at this show, and it's the Toronto Gift Show, and they have a tarot reader. Well, you know your girl here cannot not go and sit in a tarot reading. What was hilarious was how my guides always show up for me. And the reason why I know that it all resonates and feels so true is because, like River was saying, we work with Angela, who is our shaman guide and counsel, as well as our own therapist. But within the spiritual realm, we have Angela. And this woman was so cool. Her name was Lisa, but her name is Lotus. And the way that it comes up is so funny because, first of all, she looks at me and she goes, your guides are very energetic behind you, which is exactly what Angela would say, where they're just jazz. So when I'm in alignment, in full grounded alignment, I feel like the guides emulate that with me. And so, and they're not anyone else's guides, they're just mine, and they could be made up of things. And I'm going to sort of talk you through a little bit of how and what different guides are, because it doesn't show up for me the way it shows up for River. So I thought I'd also take the moment, being a generator in human design, right? And human design takes from the I Ching and astrology. And if you're not familiar still, if you've been listening to us for a while, then you know about human design. And if this is the first time you're hearing it, I will put some in the show notes, a link to the free test. It's not actually a test. It's you put in your astrology where you were born and what time you were born, and it spits out one of 5 types, one of 5 styles. I happen to be a generator, and my sweet bestie co-host is a manifester. So feel free to Google away or look back at the show notes and click on the link, and you'll be able to put in your information. It literally takes a whole 1 minute if you know all your information. If not, find your birth certificate or ask your relative, mom, dad, whoever might have known what time you were born. And I mean, you can be 5 minutes on either side and you'll be fine. So this reading, I mean, she nailed me. As you know, I have been dating, and she basically said that regarding a new relationship, they want me to slow down and stay present and literally just enjoy it and have no doubts around it. Um, which made me laugh a lot because I don't know if it's the Aquarian in me or if it's just how I'm built and this kind of evolves around the spiritual knowing, when you know. And then I just want to get excited about it. I want to jump from A to, I don't know, A to P. It doesn't have to be A to Z, maybe A to P, and then kind of figure all that stuff out. But um, it really is basically, I have to slow my roll, which is so true. So I pick these cards, these oracle cards, and of course, one of them is from a starseed deck, which I have. And I've been told that I am also a starseed from a planet called Palladian. Now, if you don't believe in reincarnation, then this episode probably isn't for you. But for me, it's not about reincarnation. It's about the fact that we are constantly in our own soul, that my soul just wears different costumes for different lives, for different lessons, learnings, however you want to look at it. But in this particular realm and this particular life, one is I was put on this earth to help people in whatever capacity. Companies, because I help companies grow. I did that as a fractional sales director for over 14 years before COVID hit. I have always just been about helping others, whether it's creating a podcast to help educate people and to share my learnings. But it is so fascinating when you realize that also within this lifetime, this actual earth school that we are all in at the moment and living it all together, because if you're here, then energetically we may have been connected in some other form or fashion. But this is really for me to slow my effing roll around everything. That when I start to rush through things, I miss out on the sweet moments, on maybe the moment of that lesson that I'm supposed to learn. And if you're driving 90 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour lane, you're gonna miss a few things. So I just love that this card, and I should try to put the photo in with the cards, and I took a picture of the gal who read me, and there's the excitement card on top. And what my guides were really saying is like, slow everything down. You don't have to slow your excitement down. You can be excited. We're giving you permission to be excited about this new adventure with somebody. Just slow down so that you can participate in these beginning phases. Because as a lesbian or as a gay girl or the lesbian world, that whole joke about, the second date and bringing the U-Haul, it's not about that anymore. It's about slowing down and really getting to be known and getting to be seen. And there's that belonging. And within that space, that's the only time that you'll have those shared moments with that person. And what is yours will not pass you by. You can settle into it and have a knowing around the fact that this person isn't going to abandon you or leave you because, one, you have yourself, right? If you've done enough work in therapy, in reading, in really wanting to dig deep into the muck of your life, into the muck of your shadows, into the dark nights of the soul work, then there's a part of you that after all of that, after being in pain out of a relationship for years, that suffering, there's a part of you that just wants to hold on to it so hard, but that does no good. So my guides are affirming and validating and reminding me through this woman, because I picked out the cards. Like, I just kind of closed my eyes and I took a deep breath, and from each deck, I picked one card. Well, guess what? It didn't matter. The message was loud and clear. And I thanked my guides when I was sitting there. I'm like, thank you guys for looking out after your girl here. But it's just really important to, like, on the side of the freeway where it says, if you lived here, you'd be home by now. It's like, could there be a bigger sign, right? So I'm just an idiot at this point if I'm not making this very aware. So yeah, so slowing my roll. So the interesting thing about spirit guides and how we all potentially communicate with them. And you just may be at the very, very beginning of your spiritual journey. You're starting to see 1111, 111. That is the beginning phases of a spiritual journey. It's really up to you if you want to see more and peek behind the veil. And it's not scary. It's really kind of freaking cool. I'm really big on angel numbers. And, when I look, I'm just driving down the road, or I'm in an Uber, or I'm in a car with a friend, and I'm just like, 222, 333, 3333, 1122, like whatever addresses are 555. 5533. I mean, it doesn't even matter. It's like they're all angel numbers. And if you're curious about what they mean for you in the minute, make notes, stop, like pause in your brain for a second and remember when you saw the number and what you were thinking about. And then Google, for real, that number, 333, whatever, or 2211, angel number meaning. The more you do it, I just put the number in, and then it pops up with the angel number meaning. And it can mean anything from love to soulmates to what it means for twin flames, what it means for career. I mean, it can be whatever you need it to be. And it just really depends on what you are thinking about, the topic, or who you were thinking about at that moment. So I think it's really important to pay attention to that. So the 6 types of spirit guides and how to communicate with them. The types of spirit guides that you might encounter. So some spirit guides have been with you for your entire life, sort of like what River was talking about, even since before maybe we were born, right? Because I told you, we are all souls. We're soul and spiritual, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So others came on your team as you needed them at different times in your life. There are some where we call them soul family, and some of them are our ancestors. So here, I'm going to list some of these and kind of define them for you, because I feel like it's a really cool place to start. And it's because I see and have spirit guides in a different way that River does. So I just thought I would take this moment because I love to educate. And I feel like that's what the podcast is all about. And if it helps you, if it helps one person, then I'm super stoked that, you are here. So your particular soul family or spiritual squad, whatever you want to call it, the team of spirit guides assigned to you could actually include any or all of the following, because everybody sees things differently. And it doesn't matter what religion you practice or don't practice. So there's archangels. You guys might have heard about those a little bit, but archangels are leaders in the angel world, and they have a powerful, like a very large energy signature. If you ever have a reading with anybody, sometimes an archangel will pop in for whatever purpose. And there are different types of archangels out there, some who protect people from getting in accidents, some who protect people who are about to try to kill themselves and it doesn't go through. There's all kinds of beautiful representations out there that those folks going through those moments either have seen an angel come to them or, or have heard and they say maybe God is talking to them, or it could be one of these types of archangels because of their large energy signature. If you're an empath, which I've learned that I am very empathic, or you're sensitive to that energy, when you call on an archangel, you might feel an energy shift in the room. Because each archangel, each archangel has a specialty, like Archangel Raphael's specialty of healing, and how, he can work with countless humans at once. So a lot of times if Raphael's coming in, it's pretty common. Archangel Michael, I mean, there's all different kinds and they all help. Guardian angels are yours exclusively, which is, they come in the forms of spirit guides. Spirit animals are different, but the guardian angels could be ancestors. They're exclusively yours. So that's why I say my guides are she was saying my guides are very energetic behind me. They love when I'm getting it. So they get super excited when I'm reaching a new place of growth. And so we each have more than one. Guardian angels have devoted their lives to just helping me, to helping us, to helping you. Call on them anytime for immediate assistance. They love you unconditionally forever. And remember that angels are non-denominational and work with people of all faiths and spiritual beliefs. So I think that's, like I said, it doesn't matter what religion you believe in. Now, spirit animals, these are really cool. And I've been told that my spirit animal is a bear. And I'll tell you why after. But spirit animals might be a pet you once had who passed away and is now part of your spiritual guidance squad, soul family. Spirit animals can also be any animal that has something to teach you, like the peacock teaching you the importance of beauty or confidently owning your gifts, or the wolf showing you the importance of getting your survival needs met. Spirit animals could show up for the first time in a dream, in your backyard, or on your coworker's coffee mug. These are what I was talking about earlier, is like these wonderful signs. You just have to open your eyes and look around and be open, surrender to the idea of seeing more and wanting to learn more. Your guides are listening to you, and that's when things will start to pop in. You'll think, oh, that's a coincidence, or how interesting. I was thinking about this earlier, and then here it is. And I'm not talking about on your phone and an ad on Instagram where you're like, I'm really thinking about this cool lingerie I saw on Amazon. And then all of a sudden, there's an ad for it on Instagram. I mean, it could be saying, buy the pajamas, buy the beautiful apparel so that you feel good about yourself, whatever. But spirit animals, so I was told that I have black bear. I love polar bears, I always have, but so it's a bear that is my spirit animal. So maybe it's polar bear, maybe it's grizzly, maybe it's a brown bear, because of their sure-footedness. So there's like different ways of finding out. For me, it's that I walk through the world really knowing who I am. And it's not predatorial the way a bear walks through, but there's a self-confidence that bears have, right? Knowing that they're walking to food, they're walking down to the river and they're going to get some salmon, or just how they know themselves when they're walking through the forest and mountains. And there's just this, confidence about them. And that's, I guess, why, that's what I was told as far as my spirit animal. So then another form of guides could be an ascended master. Ascended masters like Buddha or the Mother Mary were once human, living journeys of deep spiritual growth and influence. So now they have a special place as leaders in the spirit world and as guides, teachers to humans like you. My guides have told me that all ascended masters are partners and work together in harmony. So no matter what culture or religion, again, I was telling you this, they were part of when they were alive. Doesn't matter. The other one that I was telling you also or sharing was it could be your ancestors or departed loved ones. I know I have my dad now as part of my soul family. And, so loved ones or family members who've passed on may choose to be one of your spirit guides and actively support you from heaven, if you believe in heaven, or from, a spiritual realm on the other side of the veil, by helping you in very practical ways, like sending career opportunities or nurturing relationships your way. One of your grandmothers could be an important spirit guide for you, whether you knew her well in life or not. In fact, any human who has passed on might become a spirit guide for you. If you're a dancer, you could have a spirit guide on your team who was once a dancer and performer too, and now wants to just help you and guide you and inspire you as an artist. And then there's these really sweet helpers, out there in the world, helper angels. Helper angels are freelance angels, so to speak. So they are just looking for humans to help with specific situations, like finding new friends or finding an office space. And I'm just being general here, right? But they are helpers. So there's so many different ways that when you are self-talking, you're not really, you think you're self-talking, you think you're talking just to yourself. Your guides hear everything. Whatever you're thinking, they're hearing. How would you change the way? Now, this is the cool thing, is now knowing some of this, walking through the world, how would you change your thought process? What would that mean for you? Does that mean that you're going to change your belief? And you're probably not. But maybe will you change the tape playing in your head? Maybe the self-talk until you feel like it is just a surrender to the knowing that you have got your back covered. In the military, when I was in the Air Force, I learned about I've got your six. And I've got your six if you're looking at a clock. And your 12 o'clock is looking forward. Where's the six? It's on your back. So if you had a teammate, another, one of your military buddies, another airman or whatnot in your troop, they've got your six, meaning they've got your back. And I love talking about that. So how kind of do these spirit guides communicate with us? Well, River gave us a bunch of cool, ways that they communicate with her. I'm going to use more of a general sense because I do get communicated with, but it comes through the form of dreams and through my meditation, through my third eye. Sometimes it comes in the form of a human telling me something I absolutely resonate with, like to my core. I have also known in the last 10 months, after Angela has kind of shared it with me, well, now it's probably a year, but that when someone is speaking their core truth, I get angel chills. And it's just really cool when that happens. So then the spirit guides will sometimes enter your life by sending you signs called synchronicities, like I was talking. And if any of you are psychology majors and remember sort of Carl Jung, he defines synchronicity as a meaningful coincidence. So, as an example, you'd be realizing you need to improve your romantic relationship, right? You had a fight, an argument with your partner, spouse, significant other, and before bedtime. And out of the blue, the next day, you notice a book about communication in romantic relationships. Just happened to be sitting on a coworker's desk. These are what I mean. Like, there are no accidents, there are no coincidences. And like I said in the beginning, right? Like, spirit guides can communicate to you through number sequences like 111. Or you might just have a lucky number. And when you go for a job interview, your lucky number is in the company's address. It's these types of subtle signs that, the spirit guides could be talking to you and sending you musical messages, like a song that always inspires you. For me, my dad says hello through, you don't laugh, but Barbra Streisand, the Bee Gees. I just have a very close connection in the car with my dad around that. And so in a reading with Angela, one of the things she said was, you feel closest to your dad in the car. And she was so right. So it's amazing how one of those songs can come on after you've energetically had a really rough day. Spirit guides might also send you a dream that gives you an idea about how to handle a situation, or a guide could even appear to you in a dream. So a couple of those, ways to start communicating with your spirit guides. I've said a few of them, but just to be clear, and if you have a pen and paper, maybe write some of these down. But one, just be more present in your everyday life. Try opening up some space in your schedule, or taking some things off your plate if possible. Because when you're not rushing around, you'll notice more messages. So getting still. That was also one of my guides telling me yesterday about stillness, just being able to sit in it and be okay in the quietness. Stay on the lookout every day for signs from your guides. Just remind yourself, the more you watch for signs, the more you'll recognize the signs they send. Because something else magical happens too. As your guides sense you are more aware of them, their helpful messages, like as you become aware that their messages are helpful, they will actually send more. And this is so true. This is what I mean. Like, I see angel numbers everywhere. Things feel like synchronicities all the time. People call it lucky. It's not luck. It's literally just how I walk through the world now. I just know that they have my back, and I don't have to worry about anything in that regard. Like, you feel like there's just a higher power walking with you, and it's really beautiful. Start a spirit guide journal. So if you get a journal, like a really cool special journal that makes it feel really cool, really special and unique for you, devote it solely to like increasing communication between you and your guides, like making a sacred place where you can write, setting the tone for that. And while your guides like sort of know you and your life, it can be really powerful to use your free will to ask for help and guidance. So like, write your guides a letter at the beginning of the week and express gratitude for a sentence or two about anything in your life you think that they've helped with recently. Like, wow, I was really struggling around this work moment, and I just really surrendered and asked the guides to just kind of show me, like, I'm just stuck. And saying you're stuck is not a weakness, right? Like, saying you're stuck, and you could tell this to your best friend the same way, and your best friend is going to give you advice from their lens. But the guides will sometimes work through your friends, knowing that the veil is down, that there's a real safe space and there's no judgment. And when you can have friendships like that, a lot of times we speak, like, a friend of mine will call me, like one of my best friends, and she's struggling through something, feeling anxious about it. And I don't know where the hell I pull it out of, but I tell her something, and she's like, God, you always give such good advice, or oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And it's not me being like a psychological, savant or anything. It's sometimes sending a quote to her, or so sending, something funny to a friend who there's a double entendre there, a double meaning or whatever. And it's even within the social media algorithms, your guides are working through that. And sometimes your guides are working through for your friends. All of a sudden you feel very compelled to send this one quote to your friend, and it really shifts for them. So I think, just doing that whole like asking your guides and writing letters to them, or talking to them out loud in the car or at home, can really start to connect you guys more for more possible signs to come through. So getting to know your guides and giving them names. I've never done this, but I've heard of this, which is why I'm telling you, because maybe someone else, like, you could be thinking of your guardian angel as you read a name in a novel like Javier or Juliet or whatever, and that becomes their name. And sometimes giving a guide a name makes them feel more real and may encourage you to connect with them more regularly. So you see if a name comes to you for one of your guides via like your intuition or a synchronicity. And if a guide is always offering you help taking your career to the next level, they might be serious and motivated. Yet another guide could totally be playful and always send you humorous advice or guidance, so encouraging you to lighten up and enjoy the ride. That's why I laugh when my guides, because they do know me better than I sometimes know myself. So surrender something to your guides. When you're frustrated about a situation, this is what I was telling you. Practice energetically releasing an issue to your guides. So perhaps just temporarily, try to quiet your mind instead of strategizing and worrying. Use a mantra like, I'm surrendering this issue over to my guides to see what they can do. Now, my friends who might be listening to this, my front row, my core, I say this to them so much because it's not about dipping out on the responsibility of figuring something out. It's giving yourself permission to not know what the fuck to do in the moment. So I look up at the sky, I look up at my guides, and I go, I have no idea how it's going to work out, how it's going to play out, what it's going to look like, the road, the path in front of me. I just wholeheartedly believe that you are going to help me figure this out. I surrender to it. I'm like, dudes, I have no fucking idea. I don't have a fucking clue. So I'm going to just give it up to you. Like, and now I'm going to go to sleep. And there's just something about that. It's something about just surrendering those moments to the spirit, to the ether, to the universe, to the guides. And then, just improving your intuition, because we all have it, and everyone can improve their intuition. You can hear gentle voices in your mind, which is called clairaudience. I don't know if you've ever looked at different types of clair practices, but clairaudience. So you see guidance as, like, if you see guidance as images in your mind, kind of like what River does, that's clairvoyance. Know that guidance is breakthrough thoughts or mental downloads, which River also gets, which is claircognizance, and I get that as well. I also get clairsentience, which is like you feel guidance as energy, emotions, and physical sensations. Like I was telling you, my angel chills really physically tell me that guides are present, that this person is speaking a core truth, and we're actually having like a soul connection in that moment, soul experience. And, so practice using your intuition to make small decisions the outcome of which aren't a big deal, like where to go for lunch with a coworker, blah, 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 where to take your partner out on Friday night. You can also kind of, and this is kind of fun, you can play a game with your intuition, like emphasize to communicate more with your spirit guides, right? Like ask for a number between 1 and 10. And if you hear a number in your mind or see a number in your mind, have a strong knowing about a number as a thought, or feel drawn to a certain number when you look back over this list. So I think that's really fun to do. And you can think about those numbers. And if it pops up in the next, hour or day, usually 24 hours, like if you're watching TikTok and you're seeing those for your page, tarot readings, and the first thing they say is, I didn't hashtag this for anything. So if you're seeing this for a reason. Those are your guides showing you what you may or may want to look at. But it is your free will that allows yourself to either dip in or dip out. And I think then, one other thing that's really important is just developing your daily, weekly, or monthly spiritual practices, because spirit guides are of the spirit world and have a powerful ability to ground you in your own spirituality. So having that regular spiritual practice, and I was talking about this funny enough, or interestingly enough, with my boss yesterday at our breakfast, and just having some type of morning or spiritual practice around waking up and how you kind of face the day. It's really important. So like you can draw an oracle card. I have friends who draw cards every morning for inspiration. You can, and I also have dear friends who take meditative yoga class once a week or every other day. You can also attend a spiritual gathering. I really love the SGI organization, SGI USA. It's a Buddhist organization. And you can go, excuse me, you can go and take like a meditation or a chanting class. And it's not really a class, it's a time where people can come and they can all meditate together, and you can say, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. But when you're saying it energetically, like I do it at home by myself, but if you're energetically around others who are also chanting this with you, there is that vibrational, that physical burst you feel when you're with this. It's just like the humming, using your voice for different frequencies and sound healing. It really is pretty special. And the more you sort of do this, it will create more intimacy with your guides. So doing something in the next few weeks, like around a new moon, around a full moon ritual, I'm telling you, YouTube, believe it or not, is a source of knowledge for you guys there. It's a wealth of videos. Everything from chakra meditation, if you're looking for love and you want to heal your heart, you can do heart chakra meditations, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, however you want it to be. It can be guided or non-guided. There is so much out there these days, and it's kind of like a grocery store for the spiritual. You just walk in and you take what you need. Google what you need, whatever that is for you. Because simply, and it may sound really silly, but the quickest and easiest way to connect to your spirit guides, and it really does work, is you can make a formal blessing or a prayer, or you can simply tell them what you need in your thought with a brief sentence or two. So, there's also really fun tools like the divination tool, like divination. Humans have been using divination tools to communicate with spirit for as long as humans have been around. So like oracle cards, tarot cards, runes. There are so many different tools and methods. See what resonates for you. My ex-wife and I, when I first met her, she used to love pulling runes. And they have a book to explain what the rune is, if it's upside down, just like with tarot cards, or if it's right side up, what it means. It's again, just another tool to help guide you. And if you're feeling disconnected when you're going through huge changes, really it's lovely to like find yourself being grounded again. You really need to get grounded, whether it's walking barefoot outside in a grassy knoll or your backyard, or just walking barefoot in general, for me, really helps ground me. But if I'm out in nature, that really is like something that's super important. And the other thing you can do is listen to spiritual podcasts. You can do a meditation, whatever can find you grounded. I really do suggest, though, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes before bed, is stop your scrolling, stop the TV time. I like to sit in the dark and just sort of be for a few minutes and see what's calling to me in that moment, whether I'm listening to a heart frequency while I sleep or a different type of healing frequency, because there's so many different frequencies and you can find them on YouTube, on Spotify, iTunes, Google it, wherever you're listening to the podcast, and you're going to find things that really help you. So there's all sorts of different ways to connect with your spirit guides. So I hope this really helps today. I love educating around this space, and I hope you found this really valuable. Let me know if you did, and we'll keep bringing cool stuff to you. So have a great day. Namaste.
If you enjoyed this episode today, be sure to subscribe and share, because what do we say, baby?
Sharing is caring.